introducing the best light novels of 2023. So this time, I'll be introducing the 20 most interesting new light novels selected by light novel addicts. This is the first video of the new year, so I wish everyone a happy new year. Thank you for your continued support of this channel this year. In this video, I would like to introduce Takeshi's novel picks among the new light novels, whose first volume was released in 2023. In 2023, it was a crazy strategy, so I thought I had some free time during the new season. If you are interested, please watch this video to find the light novel you are about to read. Let's get started right away. We'll start by announcing the 20th place. 20th place, Stellar Step. This series was ranked in Konoranga and became a hot topic. The idea of an idol-style SF dystopia is innovative and featured on the cover. The evacuation of the evil character from the cute atmosphere was wonderful, and the way it showed despair and hope was very moving, and it was a story that really shook your emotions and the worldview. It's solid, so there were a lot of parts that made it worth reading. If you want to enjoy the struggles of girls living in a harsh world, check out this story. Next, A Gal Who Likes Light Novels and Me. This work is a romantic comedy that is irresistible for light novel lovers. There was a heroine in my school days who was a cute gal who loved light novels. It was a work that I couldn't help but wish I had. The main character is quite complicated, so some people may feel uncomfortable with that, but I encourage you to read on. It won't bother you, and after all, it's interesting that there are various light novels appearing, so if I can make light novel fans think that this is a one-shot that they can definitely enjoy, I hope that there will be more. So, everyone, please buy it and read it. Next, 18th place, Another World Ramen Store. Some people may have thought, oh, I've come to see something colorful, but this work was really interesting, and after all, it's a different world where you want to eat ramen to death. Hokkaido Ramen is a transplanted gourmet novel, but there are so many delicious looking ramen that I'm really hungry while reading it. Seriously, after I read this novel, I just kept eating noodles for about a week, so it had an impact on real life. That level may be top class. The story was also very well done, with some emotional elements depicted through the ramen noodles. I recommend you to read it once without thinking of it as a light novel. Next, 17th place. This is The Wizard's Trump Card. This is a new series by Hitsuji Sensei, who completed the Roguewaka series. This time it is also magic school fantasy, but it is a story that condenses the good points that recording has developed. It was a part of the highest level of school fantasy. Although the main character and heroine are quite heavy, it never gets too serious and has a comical and easy-to-read atmosphere. The ending was exquisite. There were plenty of exciting battle scenes throughout the series, which made me feel very satisfied. The story has a long way to go, but I'm looking forward to the next volume as it's a highly anticipated new series. Next, she's usually a serious committee chairperson, but can she be your girlfriend? Actually, I read this book last year, but it was a pretty well-written youth story, so I placed it in this ranking. The story isn't flashy. However, the main character and heroine were very carefully sculpted and had a nice German feel to them. I was also very impressed with the story of the Royal Road to Youth, where the main character supports the heroine who has problems with her family relationships, but the heroine seems to have a cowardly attitude and is cute like an innocent child. It was quite fascinating. I'll be visiting Dendeki Bunko for 2 consecutive months, so a new book will be released in January as well. I'm really looking forward to that as well. Next. 15th place. Under One Roof with a Tropical Girlfriend. This is youth love novel, which was released in the first half of 2023. The setting is in a seaside town. That being said, I'm glad that the story as a whole was refreshing, and there were also plenty of diving elements, which made it interesting enough to make me want to actually try marine sports. The story is about a boy who has been frustrated by various things, and begins to move forward while being healed by the vast ocean and the heroine. It was a work that really stuck with me. If you like youth stories, you'll definitely enjoy it. I think you'll like it, so please read it. Next, 14th place, Hikikomori VTuber Wants to Convey. This is also a new work that will be released in December. As the title suggests, it is a new work in the VTuber genre, but the story is close to the ideal of a personal VTuber. The atmosphere is similar to that of a documentary, with the story of a girl who has become a shut-in and regains herself through her activities as a VTuber. I have the impression that it's a serious story or a pretty sticky breakup, but this work has a serious story, but the way it's told is very comical, and I really like the way it was told. This year, the number of VTuber stories has increased a lot. It has the highest quality among other products, so please check it out. Next, 13th place, The Witch and the Mercenary. This work has been a hot topic since its release, and while there are still many different world fantasy works out there, it's great to see a work with such an afterthought like this come out. It's eye-catching, isn't it? The story is about a persecuted witch and a mercenary who will do anything for money, and they come together to create a place of progress. It's not flashy, but it's well crafted, including the worldview. It was great. I think there is still room for high fantasy to grow, so I hope it will be revived in 2024 next. 12th place. The Queen is a foreigner. The heroine is an Oriental princess who married into a Western country. It's a fantasy story about a boat that overwhelms those around her with her amazing physique. Anyway, it was extremely refreshing to see the heroine become knowledgeable about all sorts of fields and solve the problems of the country. The romance between Ku and the fledgling Ku was also good, and the heroine is so bright and strong that I think it's a work that even male readers can enjoy. Continuing, 11th place, Live in a Bathtub. This is a new work by Taiga Shiki, who has become one of the best new writers in recent years. It was ranked high in the recently Konorano and became a hot topic, but after reading the work, I realized that Taiga Shiki is one of the best new writers. I thought he was an amazing writer. The main character is a woman who breaks down mentally in her working life and ends up living in a bathtub. I wonder how she came up with such a setting. That's right. From there, he added VTuber elements and the story depicts the bonds of family, and his unique way of reading is unique. I seriously think he will become a great writer in the future, so I hope he becomes a light novel writer. So this was in 20th to 11th place. If you look at it like this, there are quite a few novel titles with female protagonists, including those that aimed at women. Novel titles with female protagonists are really riding on the current wave. So just by looking at the rankings of works, you can feel the momentum. I think this trend will probably accelerate this year as well, so we may see a significant increase in the number of new series with female protagonists. Now that we're paying attention, let's take a look at the top 10. 10th place, The Soccer of the Three Greats will shake the world. I definitely want to include this work. It's a very challenging work with a youthful theme about soccer, which is rare in light novels. The best thing about it is that it's still really interesting. I'm looking forward to the possibilities of a sports light novel. I hope it sells somehow, as it's a work that feels like it has a lot of potential. You can enjoy it even if you're not interested in soccer, and the main character, who is almost a soccer amateur, rises to the top of his game. It's also refreshing, so if you haven't read it yet, please give it a try. Next, I Fell in Love with You, Invisible to the Naked Eye, as you ran into the transparent night. It's a pure love story that won the Employer Gabunko Grand Prize. This work made me cry. It's also about a so-called incurable disease that begins when a person falls in love with a blind girl. But I don't just feel sorry for the heroine. Of course the story was good. There were a lot of developments towards the end that made me feel sorry for her, but the strength and weakness of the heroine really stimulates the flow. Also, although there are pros and cons, it is a little different from the origin of an ordinary incurable disease. Personally, I really liked the twist in the ending. It seems that a second volume is also planned, but I'm curious as to what kind of story it will be. As expected, a different character will be the main character. I don't think so, but I'm looking forward to the release. Next, Miss Olivia dies when she is loved. I cried a lot when I saw the work. I'm a pretty loose person to begin with, but this novel really touched me. It's about a young man who has a curse that makes him die the next day, and who marries him. The sad and heartbreaking story of pure love between two girls who were in trouble for some reason was the best. It was a hot topic among my acquaintance of love novels, so I decided to read it, and I'm really glad I read it. You know, at first glance it seems like a work that looks like shoujo novel. It's going to be a low priority, but no, I don't feel like I can say that anymore from now on. I'm glad I came across this work in the sense that it changed my sense of values. Next, 7th place. Goodbye, All the People Who Weren't Kind to Us. It's one point from the flow of pure novels. It's a dark work about revenge. In a sense, this is also a work of pure love, but this work has a main character and a heroine. It was a really intense story of revenge. But anyway, the ending was amazing. After I finished reading it, I was left feeling like this is how it should have ended. But when I thought about it again, I had a mysterious sense of satisfaction that made me realize, well, this is the way it should have been. In terms of impact level, it's the best work of 2023. I think readers will choose it, but I think it's worth reading. Next, Soup Forest. The story of Olivia who talks to animals and Arthur, a former mercenary. This work was really soothing to read. This is the first time I've read a work by the author, Mr. Shu. I was completely hooked by the story. It was a story full of kindness and made me feel very calm while reading it. I decided to live with the heroine Olivia, who can hear the inner voices of living things. It was heartwarming to see Arthur, a former mercenary, gradually grow closer to each other. Also, the various soup dishes that Olivia made all looked delicious, so it was an excellent gourmet experience. It is a very soothing work to read in a leisurely time, so it is recommended to read it when you want to relax. No Fying Winter. It was ranked first in the first half of 2023 ranking, and 5th in the annual ranking. I think it's the #1 post-corona novel. I feel the depth of Gaga Bunko's ability to produce works like this. The story of a boy and girl desperately trying to live in the present in a world closed to winter was wonderful. The refreshing retreat at the end is very nice and gives me hope for the future. The ending was good. I've read quite a few of Hiroshi Ishikawa's light novels, but personally I think this one is in the top 3 next. 4th place, This Summer Will End Anyway. This is a work released by Gaga Bunko in December. For some reason in December, the masterpieces of novels has been published repeatedly. It is one of the books. It is a novel in the form of a series of short stories, but I will read one of them anyway. The overall result was so amazing that it could be called a masterpiece. A story about a boy and a girl who desperately try to survive each day in a world where the extinction of humanity is almost certain due to a meteorite collision. It was a very dazzling story. I like that it depicted the daily lives of boys and girls against the scale of the extinction of humanity. It was a series of short stories, consisting of 5 stories. However, there was a pleasant feeling in how each part was connected little by little, and the development in which it all came together at the end was wonderful. I think that it will be a story that will be loved for a long time, as it is a neat collection of short stories in one book. 3rd place, the reason why she chose me. It was a new work. The heavy past that the main character carries on his back, and the life he had to live as an adult because of it was heartbreaking. However, the main character meets the heroine, and they get to know each other. The story of how they support each other is really precious. It's a very thorough story of pure love, and the positivity of the two of them holding hands and moving forward was wonderful. It was a very touching story in one, but original. It's a 2-part work, so I hope it's continued somehow. If you like stories like this, you'll definitely enjoy it, so please give it a read. Next, Wizard's Moving Company. This is also a work released in December. It was a beautiful human drama story in which the heroine, who runs a moving company, touches the lives of various people. This is the kind of thing I am. I love human drama works. I felt that again. The theme of moving is a great way to depict a turning point in one's life. It depicts moving in a fantasy world, such as the hero and the magical library of dragons, which makes it exciting and each person's life is heading in the right direction. I especially enjoyed reading how it changed. The last episode was so moving that I cried, so please read it. The most interesting new work in 2023. And here is the most interesting new light novel of 2023. No, one who killed the hero after all. 2023 cannot end without talking about this work, which represents 2023's rare and finest work. There is no doubt it is a light novel. It is a mystery-like work that begins with the death of the hero, but the human drama that can deeply move you is the best. The truth of the hero's death and various things related to it are revealed in the second half of the story. The preparedness of these people was so full of kindness that I was really moved by it. It was a really satisfying work, including the refreshing ending. I kind of like happy endings. Personally, I think the fact that the sales of this work are unusual for new work is high. I think it's a big deal to be able to feel hope in the new hot market, where sales are so slow. Well, to be honest, in terms of fun, it's around 5th place, so there's not much of a difference. All of them were of a high standard, but considering its contribution to the famous industry, I place this work in 1st place. I think it will continue to be talked about as a fantasy Rano masterpiece, so if you haven't read it yet, please check it out. Please try reading it. So, the results from 1st to 10th place are like this. My tastes are clearly shown. I feel like I like dramas that stir my emotions. However, all of the works are well done and can be called masterpieces, so if there is something you're interested in, I recommend giving it a read. I think you should definitely pick it up during the New Year season. These are the top 20 new works for 2023. That's the top 20 new light novels for 2023. I'm sure each of you is interested in light novels, so I'd be happy if you could let me know in the comments section. I hope to see even more interesting light novels in 2024. I'll be reading a lot and introducing them on this channel, so please continue to support me this year. See you in the next video.